FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. I am honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Hello, welcome to episode 161 of WhysAdvice, and I want to just again open the show with a huge thank you for being here. Everything we do together really just makes this an amazing community. Leanne writes in out of the gate, says, "Hi, I'm Leanne from Florida. I've lost over 100 pounds and I hit goal twice in my adult life. I have lost 30 more pounds many times. Too many. My poor body. I've been on so many different diets that I cannot count them all. They all work. I was at goal last Christmas. I gained 50 pounds over the year. I am now 47 and I'm down 15 plus pounds since starting Weight Watchers on December 3rd. I have 30 pounds more to lose to hit goal, and my goal is a little higher this time for easier maintenance, and I intend on joining meetings for the last 15 to 20 so I can hit lifetime and keep my online account. This time is different. I've said that before. This time it feels different. It's true. I'm learning to enjoy proper portions of food. That is big for me as I'm a member of the Clean Plate Club and I like to eat as much as my husband. It's always a fight to lose weight. Now, if I feel like pigging out, I can fill up with soup or salad first, or even a chicken breast. It's also different as in the past, I got to goal and I started acting like a naturally thin person who never had food or weight issues. I have reverse anorexia. I think I look thinner than I am, so I must be. It's an excuse to be able to eat more. I need to manage my obesity. My friends and family do not understand because I was not morbidly obese. I could have been, but I have dieted for most of my life. I am not a naturally thin person. I have to work to keep my weight in check. I will never give up. Well, now I'm babbling, but that's my story. My why is for my family and my health. I had a TIA mini stroke, and while I'm still undergoing testing, the best thing I can do for myself is to lose the weight and exercise. And of course, maintain. Thank you. You are very much appreciated. I love listening to you and hearing stories about the others. I find so much inspiration. Leanne, I'm glad you're with us. Sorry to hear about your stroke, but it's awesome that you're here, focused, ready to get it done. You absolutely are ready. Now let's talk about your amazing willpower. You've lost over 100 pounds twice and you hit goal. That right there is incredible focus. That's incredible work. You have done that. So sure, we now need to figure out, how we maintain it, how we keep that your new lifestyle. But the fact of the matter is you are incredible to be able to do that. You've proven you can do that. I want you to think about that for just a moment and celebrate that, yeah, I can do anything that you want to. We need to make a plan. We need to make a plan for your life that this time when you hit goal, what is going to be different? I want you to look at all your previous journeys and I want you to figure out how maybe you ended up restarting. What was it that triggered you? What was it that kept it going? Because we all know when we get to that goal point, we have to then, adjust our lifestyle, continue doing the things that got us to goal to stay at goal. I agree with you. This time for me, it's completely different. I've said it too. You have to feel different. You have to act different. And as you start learning to enjoy proper portions of food, take an inventory of that. I get completely surprised at how little food I can survive off and still be completely satisfied. For so long, I was overeating, and clearly that played into all of the issues up to this point. But I've now realized through tracking, through proper management, that, I don't need as much food as my body thinks it does. There's so many times throughout the course of the day where I think that I'm hungry, and reality is a glass of water or a piece of fruit will completely satisfy that for many, many hours. And there's actually a little bit of hunger feels healthy now to me. Whereas before I used to eat and be so full and so stuffed that it was just absolutely miserable because I was afraid of that hunger feeling. But now that I recognize that hunger feeling feels good, that just a tiny little bit of hunger lets me know that I'm working the plan properly and getting it done. You're right. We do need to manage our obesity. You're doing a fantastic job managing it. We now need to solidify it. So your entire life you've been doing it. Of course, your friends and family aren't clearly going to understand. The only people who really understand are the people who've gone through this journey, which is what makes this amazing community so valuable. You can do this. Eating proper and being healthy is doable no matter what you have going on in your life. We've made the decision that we have to eat. You just choose things that are going to sustain you. They're higher in protein. They're healthy. And when you make the right choice to eat healthy, you do a little bit of exercise, you can have anything you want in that range, and you can manage this entire ordeal. So many people have done it. That's why we stick together, to remind ourselves so that we don't end up gaining it back as we start celebrating the fact that we hit goal. We stay with the group. We reach back. We help someone else. As you're helping someone else, it constantly reminds you to stay focused on the journey. That's why I do this show every single night, except for the days that I don't. But it's important for me to stay connected to folks who are like-minded, who understand what I've gone through and who understand what I'm going through. That is how I manage success. I want to take a second to share a very special email with you today. It came in this morning. I woke up. It was the first thing I read this morning, and it demonstrates the proper, it demonstrates how powerful this network is. As you know, a couple days ago, I was interviewed for the End of 3 Fitness podcast. I put the link out on Facebook. I'll attach a note in the show notes here if you haven't heard that interview. I was quite proud of that interview. We sat and did it. When I got done, I listened to it again. I'm like, yeah, actually, I kind of like that. And I was hoping that it would just get distributed so far reaching that it would start helping. And so the host of the show, Jared Moon, he was an Air Force guy as well. I don't know exactly how he found my story, but he did. And so he called me. We did an interview. He put me on his podcast, the End of 3 Fitness podcast. We talked for about an hour. Well, I say we. I talked for about 55 minutes, and he asked me 3 questions. You guys understand that really well. But so it was an hour-long episode. And I just, you just never know where that's going to go. But he said somewhere in the middle, he asked me, how did I connect my fitness to the mission? And he said there's a lot of military folks listening that he knows of. And so he wanted me to help them, kind of connect it to the mission. So the email I get this morning comes in from New Mexico, and here's how it goes. So I get interviewed for the podcast. Somebody hears the podcast, and somebody says, hey, you need to listen to this podcast. So it gets shared. This story is now 4 iterations down. And William writes in and says, sir, I'm a tech sergeant in the New Mexico Air National Guard. I am listening to your podcast as we speak. I have a PT test in 6 weeks. Your words have resonated with me. I will probably pass by the skin of my teeth, but your words truly are totally relatable. The habit, the change in life, and the why, I have 15 years in. I have failed a PT test 2 years ago. I really am taking your mentorship seriously, and I want to thank you for your words already. Signed, Tech Sergeant William Fitzpatrick, the 150th LRS at a New Mexico Air National Guard. Dude, I'm honored to be your wingman. I'm here for you. I know your story. I lived your story. And your story has an amazing ending. How do you want it to go? How do you want your story written? So when I was in the place, I didn't know what support looked like. I didn't know how to ask. I didn't know how to reach out. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was completely alone in the journey. Of course, I asked for help, but generally speaking, the help that was offered was not the help that my brain needed to get this in, to get it done. So as we start building this support network, you can just help us. You can tap in, you can get help from the network, and we can get you to a place where you never ever stress about this PT test again. OperationFatDag.org is the website. That's where we're going to start providing the resources for folks just like you, folks just like me, who don't know where to turn, and they absolutely can get their help. Let's talk about your PT test in 6 weeks. You failed 2 years ago. I want you to understand that we vow to never do it. We don't want to fail these things. I get it. So 2 years ago, and here you are going to pass by the skin of your teeth. I'm glad to see you're at a point where you feel confident that you're at least going to pass. We can build on that. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this one step further. Passing is the bare minimum. It reminds me of that old adage is, someone puts a bar on the ground and says to folks, hey, hop over this bar. And so one by one, people just kind of, just got over the bar. And this one kid comes up and he runs and he jumps as high as he can and he jumps over and the bar was laying on the ground and someone goes, why did you do that? He goes, well, I'm not settling for the minimum. So when we do this fitness test and we tie it to the mission, we have to know that to be a good airman, it requires everything we have in all areas of our life. The absolute good news is you're plugged into an amazing podcast with Jared, the End of 3 Fitness podcast. You're plugged in here. Join the Facebook group, Wise Wingmen. Together, we'll work with you. We will get you to, and I want to see an excellent score. And if we don't get it this go around, I want you to celebrate the fact that you passed it, and I want you to immediately turn right around and keep working on it. So often we go year to year and we neglect the fitness. It puts us in a really bad shape mentally. And then all of a sudden it gets too late and it's hard to recover. But if you build a lifelong habit of just working out consistently, I promise you, your next test will be amazing. And with 15 years in, man, what an amazing career. Let's retire on your terms. Let's retire with dignity. Where you say, I'm going out because I want to retire, not because I'm being forced out. William, man, I am here for you. I am completely honored that you wrote in. I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk this journey together. Better sleep can make you a healthier wingman. You spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, so you should be comfortable. Casper is a sleep brand that makes expertly designed products to help you get your best rest one night at a time. Casper products are cleverly designed to mimic human curves, providing supportive comfort for all kinds of bodies. The experts at Casper work tirelessly to make a quality sleep surface that cradles your natural geometry in all of the right places. With over 20,000 reviews and an average rating of 4.8 stars across Casper, Amazon, and Google, Casper is becoming the internet's favorite mattress. Casper also offers a wide variety of other products like pillows and sheets to ensure an overall better sleep experience. It's delivered right to your door in a small, how'd they do that size box. All this at affordable prices because Casper cuts out the middleman and sells directly to you. You can be sure of your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free Sleep On It trial. Get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/DAG and using promo code DAG at the checkout. That's $50 off select mattresses by visiting casper.com/DAG using promo code DAG at the checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Next up, Julie from Waterford, Michigan writes in and says, "Good morning, Mike. First, I was over the moon to listen to podcast episode 151 and hear you featuring my email. I went to bed early last night as I wasn't feeling well. I have only heard one live broadcast, and it was so much fun. I wish I could listen more to live, but however, I'm just not a night person. While I was resting last night, I kept thinking about your article on coming to terms with obesity management. It really haunted me and stayed with me. My first email I sent you a while back talked about how I've been a Weight Watcher member since probably 18, and although I never obtained goal, it kept me from being morbidly obese. I have, over the years, reflected a lot on that. For a long time, that was enough. I came from a family with members obese and alcohol addiction. Really, almost who doesn't? Do understand that I am so grateful for you and your message about focus and discipline, and of course, getting it done. Rest assured, I am. Back to more of what I wanted to share and communicate with you about is the years at my Weight Watcher meetings and one particular leader named Sherry. Being a leader, I think you'll find this interesting. After listening to a few of your podcasts back in the beginning of the fall, I knew I needed to do a few things. First off, get back to a meeting with Sherry. Well, she will be retiring soon after being a leader for close to 40 years. She only does one meeting now that's near me, Tuesdays at 9:30. I have been instructing a 9 o'clock Tuesday exercise class for over a decade and now managing the fitness studio here in Waterford. So I chose to put me first. Regardless of the initial backlash, I knew I would receive for not instructing any more Tuesday morning classes. With a new instructor in place, back I went to Sherry's meeting. We know each other very well. We hugged and I told her I was going to goal and she was going to give me all the accolades along the way. One of the things I always loved about Sherry is her constant connection to the addiction part of this journey. All of her meetings for me, going back 16 years, have always touched on the addiction part, the need to get away from sugar and the mind, body, and the spiritual journey. She always comments on how the meeting is getting away from topic, but sometimes the way it unfolds is more important than the topic. She also began to enlighten me and the group on the food industry and their goal of keeping us addicted. Just last week, she mentioned she'll be doing her meeting with the monkey in the new year with all the new people signing up. So let me tell you about the monkey. Years ago, I walked into my meeting. There she is at the front of the room with this long, skinny, stuffed monkey. Long arms that have Velcro on the hands, Velcroed around his neck is the monkey. I'm sure you figured out the story. That darn monkey on our shoulder. Food and its incredible pull and its hold over us. I went out and I bought a little stuffed version of her monkey and I hung it from the visor for years. Her stories are always inspiring and visual, reminding us constantly of the struggle to keep that monkey quiet and to keep him calm. She never really goes away. We just learn how to manage him or her. I used to think I just can't pull him or her off without, I just wish I could kill him or her. No, she's part of who I am. I've been living with it my whole life. She just doesn't get to be in charge anymore. I look forward to my future pictures with her and my goal and lifetime accomplishments. So much adds to this journey. She told me about retiring this year and asked if I would like to become a leader. If I can follow in her footsteps and touch the lives like she has, I most certainly would consider it. I would also like to thank you for the attendance goal message. As an instructor, I know how important it is to just start and show up. I love how you remind listeners to ease into exercise as a lifestyle. As you know, so many go gung-ho and then can't move and they get discouraged. Find what works for you and try to enjoy. Someday I would love the opportunity to meet or perhaps even chat by phone. You have touched my life, and like many, including your beautiful family and all the listeners and connectors, I am so grateful. Julie. Julie, thank you for that great email. And you're absolutely right, is that monkey is there. The food addiction that we have to manage is something we're going to have to figure out how to manage for the rest of our lives. I'm glad you're able to tune in. I understand that, the live show many times goes late into the evenings. That's why we put the replay on YouTube. You can always find it there. You can find it in Facebook for sure. But as you start listening, what I'm most glad to see is it doesn't matter where you found it. It doesn't matter how you found it. What matters is you're paying attention and you're making the change that you need to. The fact that you stopped leading your fitness class so you could attend a meeting that works shows incredible focus. It shows you put you first, regardless of whatever backlash. You had to take care of you and you had to make you the priority. That is how you do this. When we decide finally that we're making us the priority, everything else works. You can do this, but you have to put you first. You just got to do that so that you are then free and able to figure out what it is you want to work on next. When you take care of you first, you free up your mind to do everything else that you want and is possible. Now, let's absolutely talk about the sugar addiction. It's one of the things that I've figured out in this journey for me. It's why I understand that much of what I eat, I have to truly manage. I have to make a decision beforehand because I know one small, simple bite almost always leads to 2, 3, 4 or more. It absolutely is that monkey on my back, is that I know the first bite leads to many more. There's a great book. It's on the website, FatDag.com. It's The End of Overeating. It talks about the food industry exactly. It talks about right now there are scientists in a lab who are crafting food to make it more addictive. We have marketers who are making the package look so much more appealing visually. You have people who put it in the store right at the eye level. So we have to, every single day, we have to be prepared to fight this battle. Then when you get the sugar in your body, your body just continues to crave more of it. So every time, I decide to make something or have something, I kind of equate it to keeping my addictions on life support. And so at some point I had to decide, for some of them, I had to completely get over it. I had to completely put them aside and completely break that addiction 100%. It would be equivalent to, asking someone if they were trying to quit smoking. Granted, I've never done that, so I don't know how incredibly difficult that is. But what I can tell you is everybody that I know has done it, they've just stopped doing it. They didn't come at it with a mindset of, I'll stop smoking on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but on Friday I want to smoke 1 or 2. On Saturday I want to smoke because it's the weekend, and then Sunday night I'll stop smoking again, and then I'll take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, back off. It doesn't work that way. If you want to break the addiction, you have to truly break the addiction. By following a plan and having a cheat meal and having a cheat day, things that aren't aligned with the plan, you're keeping your addictions on life support. You have a great vision here. You look forward to the future and the pictures of you at your goal in your lifetime. Use that vision to break your addiction, to get control of your addiction, to manage the monkey. You don't need to kill it. You don't need to you just need to domesticate it. And when you do that, you can have it in your life and you can manage this for the rest of your life. Keep up the amazing work. I hope you would consider becoming a leader. It's one of the most rewarding things I have ever done in my life. Week after week, standing in the room, watching people completely melt in front of me is incredible. Knowing that we're together fostering an environment where it's safe and comforting, where they feel like they can win, is incredible. To be the leader of the room, to help orchestrate that conversation, is clearly, it's something you absolutely should consider. Now, continue on with your attendance goal. Continue on working the plan. You never know. Someday, perhaps we will meet. Follow FatDag.com. Click on the event calendar to find out where I'm going to be next. I'll give you a heads up. I'll be in Michigan around probably the second week of February. So keep an eye on the calendar for that. and maybe we'll see you in the Detroit area. Next up, out of Port St. Lucie, Florida, Melissa writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. I just deleted my whole history that I've typed out about my weight gains and losses throughout my 62 years, which has probably been well over 100 pounds. As I decided to get right to the point. I need to lose 15 pounds. It may not seem huge to others, but to me, it's like climbing the highest mountain. Even though last December my annual physical showed me at pre-diabetic risk and my cholesterol teetering on the highest point of normal, I was unable to change my eating habits. I joined Weight Watchers online again this past May. I started out great. I lost 7 pounds, but meandered off my path with summer vacations, family gatherings, etc. I had to go back and forth up north for a wedding in early October. Packing for me has always been a nightmare. Having to try on clothes to see which fit at that particular time, and of course, they're never the ones that coordinate with each other, which results in a checked bag versus a carry-on. It takes me 2 hours to pack for a long weekend while my husband does it in 15 minutes. I've had enough. I want to have fewer clothes that always fit and go with one another. It's funny how this motivated me more than my medical needs. I didn't realize it at the time, but that is my why. On my return home, I canceled my Weight Watcher online membership and I joined up for the meetings. I need that accountability. I discovered Connect, and although I don't post anything myself, I get huge motivation from it. And it was through Connect that I found out about WhysAdvice. I downloaded your app, and it's been wonderful. All your mantras stay with me throughout the day, but the one that is in my head the most is, you can do this. When I wake up and I want to roll over for a few extra winks, your voice pops into my head saying, you can do this. And as hard as I try to ignore it, you won't go away. I usually sigh, but I get up and I go out the door for a walk where I bring you along with me. Or either I go swimming or maybe for a bike ride. Sometimes for over an hour, sometimes only 15 minutes. I've learned the importance of attendance over performance. I have lost 8 pounds so far. I know that my numbers will be better when I see my doctor in a few weeks. I know that this time I will get to the point on the scale when I say I've lost enough, and most importantly, I know that this will be it. Weight Watchers and me for life, along with a closet full of clothes that actually fit. Saying thank you doesn't seem like enough for all you've given us, but I say it with all my heart. Thank you for being there for us, for your encouragement, your positive attitude, and for the hours spent away from your own family while you're giving yourselves to us, your extended family. Please thank your wife and your daughter for sharing you with us, and thank you for your service to this wonderful country of ours. With much appreciation and gratitude, Melissa. Melissa, what a beautiful email. Thank you for that, and thank you for writing in. Now, here's the piece that we talk about often in this journey. It doesn't matter how much weight you have to lose. Whether you want to lose 15 pounds or you want to lose 100 pounds or you want to lose 200 pounds. If you do not like the way you look, if you don't like the way your clothes fit, it doesn't matter what the number is. It's the same mental battle regardless of the number. It's why we say the number doesn't matter. If you're not comfortable, if you're not happy, it doesn't matter. The good news is you've found a place where we can change that. You're absolutely right. Finding that accountability, hopping into a meeting room is absolutely key to this success. There have been so many people who've been very, very successful online only. I am just not one of them. There's so many people who need that accountability of a meeting. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to never, ever miss a meeting. I want you to put it in your calendar first. I want you to make sure you attend a meeting. If for some reason you can't get into that one, you need to hit another meeting that same week. I want you to walk into that meeting room. I want to shake hands with everybody in there. I want you to introduce yourself. As uncomfortable as it is, I assure you, you will get a warm reception. The reason that's important is as you do that, as you make those connections, you start building real accountability to the group. If you walk in, you sit back quietly, which some of us need at times, I get that. But if you don't interact with the group, it makes that accountability seem a little more distant. But you can do this. You absolutely can do this. And when you get to the point where you walk in your closet and everything fits, everything looks good, it's an amazing day. There's been so many times, just like you, before I finally decided to do this, is that I would get ready for a wedding and I would be running off to the store the night before a wedding to buy something. And really, you're showing up to an event in whatever fits. Not what looks good on you, not what you felt like wearing. You know, I've had to buy clothes before that the only thing I could buy was there in my size. That's not goal. Goal is right now I can walk up into my closet, I can pick anything out of there, I can go, I could pack for a trip just like your husband in 15 minutes, I could throw a bunch of stuff in there. I know when I get to where I'm going, it's all going to fit. But you can't meander off the path. You can't start off great with a 7-pound loss and then say that's good enough. You have to push forward. You have to make sure you want to do this. So many times that first week is a little bit of sabotage because the first week we do so well and then we expect that same level of results every single week. And quite often that's not how it works. It's the long-term goal that gets this done. It's that continued focus for the rest of your life. It's managing the obesity for the rest of your life. It's that point where you say, I have lost enough and I am at goal. Melissa, you can do this. I know you can do this. I've seen so many people find the success when they're truly ready. They find their why. They write it down. They never forget it. They dig deep. They have a why so powerful that just the mere thought of it brings tears. When you get there, when you solve it, you will be at goal. We'll reach out as a community and we will absolutely celebrate. It takes proper attendance over the performance. If you show up, if you stay focused, if you never miss a meeting and you stay dialed in, you will get to goal. And when you do, we'll reach out and we'll celebrate. What is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on WhysAdvice Podcast, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in to the next show. I want you to email in your celebrations because, as you heard, every single one of us has a story that needs to be told. The more we tell the story, the more we interact, we become accountable to each other. That accountability is what gets you going. That accountability is what keeps you focused. That accountability is what will get you to goal. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the WhysAdvice Podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit FatDag.com, click on Become a Patron today.